guys killed Maggie Smith, I was devastated.
Someone has to stop her. We're rolling.
Dice. Camera.
Action. Nailed it. God, we're good!
Yes! That's what we're going to sing.
Good one, buddy. You did it! Yay! The power of editing. What was that?
I don't know, but it recorded it. Enjoy.
Bloody hell.
Hello! And welcome to the BBEG Podcast, which of course stands for Big Bad Evil Giraffe. What the hell is happening?
It was the laugh after hello. I'm like, I'm cutting all the stuff out. They don't know why you're laughing.
I'm just laughing at you.
Anyway. Hello, and welcome to the BBEG Podcast, which of course stands for Big Bad Evil Giraffe. I am Hatty.
I'm Will.
And I'm Em.
And today we will be covering DM Essentials.
We've spent a lot of time talking about new players and how they can get ready for the prep, but we've neglected the people who are actually going to be running the session. So let's give them a bit of screen time now, shall we?
But before we get that started, today's map is brought to you by Mapzilla, and it is called Cascadia.
It is popping, by the way. That blue pops off. It's so nice.
But more on that map and the creator later. DM Essentials!
This is the musical episode.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing the Buffy musical thing.
Oh, that was bad.
The Buffy one was great.
Have you ever
Once
seen
Upon
any
a
of the
Time was a
Riverdale
bit-
musical episodes?
I didn't need to watch it. I listened to. They released the soundtrack. I mean, the soundtrack is accurate for the way some of them were singing. But they replicated the Heathers musical episode.
Yep. It was not good.
Is it? Okay. I don't think I've seen it.
None of them were going to that candy store. That's all I'm saying.
Nah.
Reference to one of the songs.
Do you know Heathers?
Back into my candy store. So yes, as you are our resident DM,
Fresher.
This is going to be a lot of us being like, tell us, share your wisdom.
You know,
with
editing the episodes beforehand, we also did this on the starter sets. You've played all the starter sets and DM them. Tell us everything. It's going to be one of them again.
Yep.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, well, I guess like we're talking about the game as a general and what sort of things happen and to consider.
Yeah.
The whole point, I guess, of this conversation is to help any future DMs if you've never done it before, or any DMs who have not long started and just finding some more tips. I don't know everything. I make a lot up as we go.
Whoa.
Excuse me?
We hailed you as a god, Em.
I didn't ask for that. If you made me your deity, that is your problem. But a correct choice nonetheless.
That's my deity slogan.
If you chose me, that's on you. I didn't ask for this.
But correct nonetheless.
But yeah, there's loads of things to consider as a DM.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's setting up the game, which comes with a bunch of rules and how to, create something. You've got prep behind you to do. What sort of equipment can you use, be it like online or in the room, depending on what you're using. And then you can wander into the world of homebrew. What is wrong with me today? I can't
Okay,
talk.
first episode of the day.
I've had 2 coffees and it's still not working.
I am literally drinking 2 coffees in 1 cup at the minute.
Yeah.
It's good. So, prep.
Yeah.
What do you do beforehand? Where do you start? If someone comes up to you and says, I really want to play D&D, you're like, well, I know what we're doing.
Listen here.
Apparently.
I get you all to sign up.
Disclaimers. NDAs.
And waivers.
So I guess prep. I guess that depends on what the person experiences is.
Yeah.
Experiences is what their past experience with the game is. So obviously when I met you two, you didn't have much experience with the game.
No.
Nope.
And I had been playing / DMing for 3 years at that point.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
How long had you been playing before you then DM'd?
I played one campaign
Yeah.
and then DM'd a campaign straight after it.
Okay.
So I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't I could do that. It was, we started in the lockdown. And so my friend Garen, as mentioned before, brought us all together and we were all performing background. So I met a bunch of these guys who are my friends from college and some at drama school where we all did acting or musical theatre.
Yeah.
And we were like, what have we got to do in a lockdown? No one's going anywhere.
Yeah.
So we did it online over Zoom, or Discord, or all the tools.
Yep.
And started that way. And we started off with the Lost Minds of Fandalver box set.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So that's how we started. To make it fair, we had a bit of a discussion about it. I had already gone, well, Garen has just DM'd this campaign.
Yeah.
He has also never really played. So in my head, it was like, it'd be fair if one of us then took over
Rotated
for the
in.
next one. And we kind of started that, well, at least with Garen, myself and Tyler.
Yeah.
So we all took it in turns then. And that became a bit of a system until we all fell apart. Well, yeah, we all live in different areas. I moved back to London.
Life happens.
I met you guys, so I sacked off playing online to play in person.
Yep.
So you're saying we stole you?
And we do it again.
And we, yeah.
My friends who are listening,
Correct.
and the reason I told you I left the campaign, yeah, it's them.
Yeah.
Blame these guys.
Redacted.
But yeah, so I'd only played one campaign and then DM'd, but the first one I DM'd was the Essentials kit, which
Yeah.
was the Dragon of Icespire Peak.
Yeah.
So it came with all the tools and everything to help me through it. However, whilst doing this, me, Garen and Tyler had a bitch chat where we just had a chat where we could chat stuff DM-wise.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, we were just slagging off all the other players. I'm joking. You never know. But it was more like Garen had already DM'd. Tyler was already writing
Yeah.
his own campaign. So when I finished my one and Tyler took over, to do his first ever DM, he'd written it completely homebrew. Because the man's a creative genius. I'm not saying that with any bitterness in my soul whatsoever. But he is. He's really good at writing. So for him, it made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So for
the long way of saying it.
how long before, like you said, you did Icespire, which kind of gives
Yeah.
you all the information you need for that starter set. So go check out our starter set episode. Plug. But for our homebrew that you are running now, is this the first homebrew you've done?
In terms of campaign, yes.
Yes.
Not in terms of one shot.
Yeah.
Every one shot I've ever ran,
Yeah.
I've completely done myself. Because that was my way of doing it. And kind of figuring out mechanics. That didn't mean I didn't take inspiration from stuff that I saw online. And I always wanted to make one shots like good for other people, especially if you're new.
Yeah.
I think I started off with a one shot before I did the campaign. Yeah. Because we had one or two other friends who wanted to try it but weren't sure if they were up for joining a full campaign. So I was like, cool, I'll do it to start feeling what it's like and to see what it is.
A few months ago, while Em was away on a job, I did a one shot for the groups, and it's a lot of work just to make a concise story that you think people enjoy, and then you have to think about all the alternatives. If it doesn't go your way,
Yeah.
how does that afflict or conflict with the rest of the story?
Yeah.
What could change? So there's a lot of prep going into
Yeah.
it, and I was afraid that I went there. A lot of prep.
A lot of prep.
So it's things like, oh, what if someone has a spell that poisons someone? I might need to know that, and it's so much. I didn't look at that. I would have had to Google it in the moment and apologised. I mean, you were at the table. I was very lucky that you came to the one. Oh wait,
yeah.
you weren't away. Why was I running the one shot? Because you were at the table.
What was there was a reason for it, but yeah, it was that.
You just needed
Isn't
more
it-
time for the
I was
homebrew.
going to say, didn't you get back late or something? There was a reason why you couldn't host.
Oh, I was
No,
away that week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd come back in
Yeah.
maybe the day before, and I still needed
That's
to
right,
finish
yeah.
it. We'd finished the So for the listeners,
Stormwreck
we
Isle.
started with Stormwreck Isle, so I could ease them in and give them a quick introduction of how to play.
Yeah.
But peppered in the homebrew that I was leading them into
Yes.
throughout it.
Yeah.
But just so they had a fundamental basis, 4 easy chapters, which was 4 sessions of how to play and get to grips with it before throwing them in the deep end into the world that I've created.
Yeah.
And you guys are doing well.
But it segued really well. Would you recommend doing it that way? For if you're just if I was like, I want a DM, which spoiler is probably not a conversation we're gonna have.
It is.
No, it's not. And
we're all gonna do a one shot at one point.
No.
Yeah.
No, please no.
I don't want
No,
to.
please.
I don't like it.
Georgia did a one shot once and it was insane. It was hilarious. From my last group, you played with Georgia.
No, which is why I'm like, good for her, but it's just
No, it was hilarious. I was so
my bag.
bad in that one shot. I kept drowning in quicksand.
I have no context here.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
But no, I get what you're saying. I think you got to figure out what's good for you as an individual. I think I'm a highly creative person. However, me putting things on paper is not my strongest suit.
Yeah.
So, me learning and teaching myself how to DM for the first time, I thought doing one of the starter or essential kits was really helpful, especially because we were still a very new group and only one of us had DM before. Instead of jumping off the deep end and getting, because you can buy pre-written campaign books, which are incredible, but then they're a lot. So at least this one, it broke it down and it gave you stuff to help. So it gave you cards with all the conditions on. So if someone was poisoned or blinded or whatnot, you could literally pull out the card, it would have the description, but also you could then hand it to the person themselves. So you'd be like, you're blinded, this is what it means for you right now.
Yeah.
Because the box itself came with a DM screen, which had all the conditions and everything on the back, because I don't know how many people actually realise that a DM screen has a lot of the mechanics on the DM side of the screen. It's not just a fancy picture. For you guys,
I literally just thought it was so that you could hide.
Well, there is that.
Yeah,
But
there is
like,
that as well.
you're going to roll and don't want us to see, you're going to need a screen.
Yeah, there is that. But also that's why when people who make their own DM screens or, sell them online, it comes with adjustable things that you can put on for whatever works for you. Okay. So it's got like basic movement mechanics and fighting mechanics and sizes. Obviously when I did the Spelljammers one, and I know we did that online, but it came with space mechanics on the back, so I could keep looking at it, because you're probably more familiar, hopefully, with the other stuff before you've jumped into space.
Yes. Yeah.
But then also...
Top tip, guys.
And also, if the space style is your first ever campaign, well, you can look at the mechanics in the book, but you've got all the specific space stuff in front of you. So,
because that was going to be my question with the one shot, I didn't do any prep on that. So if I had a DM screen, that saves you a little bit of time. You don't need to know everything straight from the off. Like flashcards. I have flashcards for my spells for my character. It's just get everything shorthand. That's it. If it's on a DM screen, perfect.
You do not need to know everything anyway. I don't really know anyone who does.
Okay.
Like, if you look at it...
This is brand new information.
If you look at it, you've got the PHB, which is mostly for players in that sense, but it teaches you all the classes and races and, equipment and all things like that. And then you've got the Dungeons Master Guide, which is a separate book of the same sort of thickness.
Yeah.
Who is going to learn all that? No one.
That's true, actually.
The point is that you can have them on hand, that if a question comes up and you go, oh, I actually don't know this, flick to it, find it, and you could go through the book and tab it to be like, oh, these are helpful bits and might be things that come up.
But again, there's still hundreds of pages to flick through.
So
would you say it's kind of best if you're playing with people that you know, you just go, this is the way I'm going to do it now, I'll learn it for next session, but in the minute I don't know and I don't want to stop combat, or I don't want to, but we're going to do this like that, I'll nail it down next session. Is that something you could do, or it depends? If it's new, if it's our group, if you were to say that, we go, that's cool. Yeah. Don't worry about it. As long as we're having fun, crack on.
Yeah, I'm not saying we didn't do that. I'm not saying we did do that when we first started playing, but there were times that things came up, and in the moment we ruled it whatever way for whatever purpose that we felt was necessary, and then looking through the rules, because we'd be like, oh, look at that, right? But I just want to keep the storyline moving or whatever's going on, and then looked at it and went, oh, so it works that way. And then we would drop a message into our group chat being like, guys, just for future reference, now that I've actually looked it up properly because I couldn't find it in the moment, it works like this. So that's what I'm going to do from now on. So it's not hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, yes, all the rules are in the book, but you don't have to follow them. You're the DM, so if you think it works for this, scenario or whatever is going on, you're the one who gets to control that factor. And it could be one way 1 minute and one way the next, just because it keeps the players engaged.
Yeah.
It keeps the storyline going. If people are role-playing and having a great time and you go, well, that's not really how that mechanic works. However, if I go, no, stop, restart that because it has to be done this way, no one's going to enjoy it.
Bit of a killjoy.
So it's taking everything into consideration.
Yeah. With that, when you have people who are role-playing on maybe a bit that is new or that you haven't really fleshed out, is there or this is in the reverse as well, they're taking too long on something, do you have go-to things that you put in to maybe just kind of speed up or help them out? Because with like one-shots and campaigns, time is a huge factor, and as a player, I'm telling you now, I'm not watching the clock.
No, I get that. There are different ways to do it, and everyone responds in different ways, so you don't know how they're going to respond until you do it. If it's a case of trying to get people to make a decision, because I'm not saying like it's an important thing, but to get them to move on, then I might throw in something that kind of shows them a bit of a time crunch situation.
Okay.
So let's say you're trying to figure out what the right door is, like it's a puzzle sort of thing, and you're spending too long just going, is it right or left? I might be like, okay, and 10 minutes later, so the ceiling starts to slowly come down on you as the room shakes. Make your decision. Because then you've just got to go, what is it? Because sometimes there is no way of knowing. You can go through everything, and yes, as a player, I've done it myself, you overthink every mechanical to be like, there's got to be a trap involved. There has to be something.
Detect magic.
So
but like ADHD brain, you just end up hyper-focusing on like the most random, why are the coins there? They don't matter. Move on.
Or sometimes you just don't think it's the simplest thing. You go, it's got to be something hard. We did a one-shot on one of the cruises that I was, singing on with the Rock On boys. Two of us had been playing and DMing for a while, Killian, and the other two had never played, and were like, oh, we want to give it a go. And we had like 3 C days that week, so we're like, wonderful, we'll do a one-shot each. Killian's one-shot was really good, and we hit this labyrinth, and one of the boys got presented with a door that had multiple handles. So we had to figure out what was the right way to open the door. So it was like, you turn the handle, it disappears, a dart was shot at him. He went through every single handle and none of them opened the door until he just went, can I just push the door open? And Killian was there like, you push the door open, and he was like, are you kidding me? Like, it was that simple. They had the door handles. The door handles did absolutely nothing.
I collapse against the door,
and it's
Dawson's
and it was like, well, how was I supposed to know? And you don't. But also, there are other ways to look at it. He's like, look at the door. What can I see? I think Killian made the point. I could be wrong. I could be making this up. But in that situation, if you did, a perception check, what can I see from the door? He could have gone, there is no lock on the, not the hinge, but the bit that connects the door to the wall. You might have noticed that that's not there to go, well, if that's not there, then the handle's not going to be connected. Do you get what I mean? But you didn't ask that question.
No.
Not saying that would have been the answer anyway.
No.
But
so on the ship, of course, for our games here in London, you have the TV that you put maps on. We have little Lego miniatures that we use. What did you do on the ship? Because in London we have all the equipment. We can print out maps. We can do everything. How does that change when you're not in your normal setup?
So there are obviously many ways to do it. The first main two are in person or online. So if you're going to do it online, that's how we started. We started on Discord. And then one of us took the brave leap to start using Roll20, and then we all
could not wrap my head around that. Absolutely could not.
It took me a while, and every time I was struggling, I'd be like, Tyler, how do I do this? Tyler was the one who used it first, I think. So for Garen's campaign, obviously it was all on Discord. He would drop pictures into the chat like I've done, and I still do that.
Yeah, you did that for Sam when he was in Notch.
Yeah, but I'll still do it here just for context of like, oh, here's a picture of this scene or whatever.
Really helpful.
Just so you get a visual idea of what it is.
Especially for those of us who've missed a couple of sessions, I can go back through and Tyler joined us.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh my goodness, you have to meet him. And I was like, bear with me. Let me just, okay, I'm on board. Like,
and then Roll20 is great for the online experience because you can still, obviously Discord allows video chat, Roll20 does the same. And then you can import maps. And you can create tokens. So like, when we had Sam at the beginning of the campaign, who was home in Greater Yarmouth, addresses here,
national insurance number,
but
not just made a name.
And the rest of you were in my flat, and he was the only one home. So I was sharing it on a screen, and then I had Roll20, so you guys could have your laptops or iPads, whatever you were having, to still move your icon yourself, but also he could do the same. So it was the best way of trying to keep it as even as possible
and as accessible.
When I did it on the ship, well, I used my iPad. That became a big tool for my maps because I could find the maps online, download them, and just put them on the photos, and just pulled it up so people could see the map and do it that way. Obviously, you know,
and
what I'm
only
like.
4 people in your cast, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Exactly. So you don't need a massive screen all the time. You don't need the biggest and best equipment.
We were all crammed in one cabin.
I was going to say, it's quite tight, so you don't want to be like, bring in the TV, boys, let's go. There's no space.
Like in science with the wheel and the TV and the VHS.
We were like, we could go to the library.
Projector, let's go. Like, no.
But so that was one way of doing it. Killian actually told me a really great site that is called 5e Tools.
Yes.
So you go online and it has so many different options and pages to choose from, but it's got a DM screen option and you can customize that yourself to how you need it to be.
Oh, amazing.
So I've started to use that even for our games.
Yeah.
Especially for things like encounters. So I can go through the website and find the monsters or creatures that I want, and it will have all their stats, and it'll save it onto the DM screen, so it's there ready, but also I can edit as necessary. So say...
I appreciate that.
I was like, you guys... I did that for... Was it the... when you went into the temple... Other plane thing to find the Zodiac Cancer.
Yes.
And you were facing that air Myrmidon thing. It was a higher challenge rating than what you guys were at. Now, I could have been, well, actually, you're all at this level anyway, and there is enough of you.
Yeah.
But still, just in case, because you all did, run with your tails between your legs in that first episode.
That did not go well.
Yeah,
the
but
first
there was
attempt.
we didn't have the full group. In all fairness, we were continuing without the full group. So I could lower his challenge rating, so then it lowered his health and his attacks and whatnot, so it does all that for you.
Oh, amazing. That's what you want, though.
You don't
have to do...
Yeah, and that requires Wi-Fi, which isn't always the best when you are on a ship, because Wi-Fi is not the best on a ship, or you don't know where your location is. You could have gone away on a holiday, just like, Cornwall or whatever, and just have no Wi-Fi. Do you get what I mean? But
being from Cornwall, oh my god, my mum's Wi-Fi is so bad. I remember trying to upload a singing video once. It's only 3 minutes 30, and it took 2 hours. Oh my god!
This makes the holiday drama that we had. That makes me feel a lot better about that.
But once it's there, you can pull the Wi-Fi off. Just don't delete the page and it will stay there. So then it's like a little portable DM screen that you can have on your laptop, and you can still run a game.
So you see all these people with, and it is like the bigger companies like Dimension 20 and Critical Role, they have the biggest and the best equipment. When I ran the one shot, I was like, what spare coins do I have to you guys to use as your tokens as the map? And M said we could just use our D100s, because how often do you use a D100? There you
That's very true. I've never touched mine.
I was like, you don't need the snazziest miniatures and the biggest DM screen. Like you say, it's a online one that you can change. Maps, you are very lucky in the fact that you do know how to use the technology in the Roll20.
Yeah.
And, I didn't. You are better.
I bluff it.
But I didn't know how that, so I had to go to Ryman's and get like A3 sheets printed, which cost a lot more. It cost like 12 £12, £14 for 5 maps to be printed.
Oh my god.
So it's
Not
like...
cheap. That's why I got the membership card.
There we go, guys.
Actually, while we're on the subjects of maps, this is a segue. Yeah.
Today's map is brought to you by Mapzilla, and this map is called Cascadia.
I don't know the ins and outs of what Zach had planned, but we have got a old oak tree, we've got a fire zone, we've got what looks like it could be a church or some kind of ritual. But my favourite thing is a zip line. There's just a zip line at the top.
That's the only mode of transport we need.
So Zach here aims to give grand and memorable places to do battle and call home. He covers expansive locales, vehicles and magitech, along with modular dungeon pieces, so you can pick and design your own. Pick from the array he's done and you can piece it together however you want. And the tiers that you can find on Patreon start at £2, £3, £4.50 and £8.50.
That's one coffee in London, that is.
Mapzilla can be found on Patreon, Instagram, YouTube and Facebook. I think my mode of transport would be getting a rubber ring and going down the waterfall. Why can't D&D go to a water park?
So what other equipment do we think are essential to a DM? I'd say miniatures, maps, soundscape, DM screen.
Yeah.
Do you know what, I'm going to talk cost effective.
Yes.
Because I think most people look at this, it's a great hobby and I absolutely love it. It's not cheap. And I do enjoy spending my money on it because it's something that brings me joy and I get to spend time with my friends doing it, so why not? But if you're starting out and you don't really know if it's something you want to invest a lot of money in, you don't need to. There are ways around doing things. You don't have to go out and buy miniatures. Like you said, if you've got loose change or
spare dice.
Go again, in one of our shorts where we reference, if you don't know what a D6 is, just go look in your Monopoly board game.
Yep.
Pull out the Monopoly figures if you've got a Monopoly board. Do you get what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm the hat.
I don't know what else there are. Is there a dog?
Oh, there's a dog. There's a little Westie.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there is a bitch.
Because I am.
Yes, that was...
Thank you.
Snaps for you.
But yeah, it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be over the top. If you don't have a TV, I mean, I love seeing everyone set up online, being like, I've now got a TV case so I can put it flat, and I do really want it. But again, there are ways around it. Like you said, print out a map. Or, oh my word, you can get a squared or hexagonal maps that are completely blank. It's white with the square or hexagonal map grid, and it's like a whiteboard surface, so you can draw the map out with a whiteboard pen.
That's very pleasing.
And then just wipe it away. So it's reusable. It's not. I'm not saying it might be like £5-10. I don't know. I've never used it.
But in comparison to spending that on a map that you can only use for that specific thing.
But like literally, nothing stops you. When we played the first campaign and we were doing it on Discord, when we were like in encounters, we didn't have maps in that sense. So we'd be going to Garen, okay, we get it, we are using our visual aid as much as possible with our imagination, but it's like, I just want to know where I'm actually stood in terms of... So he would literally grab paper, quickly do a box as a map, and just put X's to be like, this is you, you're here, and send the picture to us. So we'd be like, cool, that's us, or your initials, they're the monsters. So you had an idea. You can do it that way. Miniatures, like I said, tokens, things like that, find whatever. We live in a day and age where internet is so accessible, so you don't have to go out and buy. But you don't have to go out and buy all the books to start teaching yourself how to play. There are some sites that have them on there. But also there are helpful websites that will just break it down for you anyway. So you don't even have to go on a dodgy website to find a downloadable book. It is just them helping you step by step break it down and go through it. So it teaches you how to play or DM. And then it's there. Like everyone, most people, well maybe not, but computers, or you can go to a library and download what you need.
I mean, YouTube is a fantastic. I learned a lot of stuff from GD XP to level 3. What's the one I found a new one? Power Word Spill. He's fantastic. There's loads of content creators online that are just there and just going, I'll write down this. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So you don't have to sit and commit 4 hours to reading back-to-back books.
No.
You can get... Internet is so accessible. You just Google exactly what you want, and someone has made a short pamphlet on it. I backed a Kickstarter the other day. First time I backed a Kickstarter, it's essentially because Emmy's going away on a job soon, and I might be picking up a campaign or starting a campaign if you guys would like to do it. And it was like, it's the DM rules, but simplified. I was like, I'll back that just in case I need it. It's literally a 22-page pamphlet. Yeah, that's it.
But that's kind of what. But that's kind of what.
400 pages. So take that.
But
300-ish. But
it's not small.
No, it's not. But also, like, that will be similar to when you get the essentials or starter kits. They give you a simplified version because you're doing it for the first time, and you don't need to worry about every single thing.
No.
And you'll cover it when you get there.
Yeah.
One thing that I really love that is absolutely free: music.
Yes.
Music sets a tone, and you use YouTube, whatever you want, and it can just create atmosphere. There are so many YouTube channels out there that dedicate to making music for atmosphere, or like you find game soundtracks and whatnot.
Yep.
That all works. One of my favourite shout outs for a music one is Bardcore.
Oh, Bardcore's so ridiculous.
They take modern pop songs and turn them into...
Yes.
So remember when...
That's a well-armed peasant.
Yeah. So you guys were in the tavern watching this bard break it down, and I started to play WAP, but the Bardcore version, which is well-armed peasants. Celine was slapping that up. Like, she was having a great time. Like, she was going for it. The crowd were fire. She was having a great time. Yeah. But that is a free, easy way to create atmosphere. Forest noises, stuff like that. So if you're going through a forest, you're going through a cave, you could just find a drip noise. You get what I mean?
That's it.
And it makes everybody submerse themselves. Easier said than done. If you were doing it online, there are ways to do it. If you use Discord and stuff like that, you can get it's called a bot that you can add in that allows you to play music, and whatever you play then plays on all the channels for everyone else.
Okay.
Tyler's used it. I kind of used it, or more, I sent my playlist to Tyler and be like, can you cue that for me, please? Another great thing in terms of free aspect is D&D Beyond. You can get a free account. So that allows you to create up to 6 characters. Okay, not helpful for a DM, but you can make a campaign on there.
Yes.
I'm not saying it gives you the full tools of everything, but it gives you some stuff. But also, if you are trying to control multiple characters or monsters, however you want to do it, if you download the app as well, or even if you're using it as the website, you can roll on there, so you don't have to buy dice. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, the dice aren't expensive when you get some standard res and stuff. Do you get what I mean?
But like if you're starting and you're like,
I've not seen a dice pack less than $6.99.
Yeah. I mean, I got my first 7 packs for £12 because it was a special offer. Do you get what I mean? But then I'm there like, I went the cheap Amazon bad way just to get simple dice.
Yeah.
But
also if you're like, if I don't like it, what am I then gonna do with these dice? Because you can't then adapt them for Monopoly or anything else. Like
I need 20 spaces.
Exactly.
So there's so many useful apps out there. Like I say, D&D Beyond has everything built in for you. Your character sheets, your character builders, your dice. There's also apps that we use, Spells 5e. So you don't have to buy
spells.
Spells 5e is fantastic. You filter it to your race and your class and your level, and it goes, this is what you can learn. It's brilliant.
Then you pick what you want, and then it puts it into a list for you. So then all the ones that your character has learned are there at the ready, and you can also filter off the spell slots. There are other similar apps. I can't remember the exact name. I think one is just called Druid 5e.
Yes, it is,
Never heard of that one.
So basically, it's all the access of animals for a druid in their wild shape.
Oh, awesome.
Which is really handy. I got Emily to download it.
I was about to say, we need Emily to do this one.
And I did it, and she was like, oh, this is so much easier.
Yeah.
It keeps track, because actually I think what people don't realise with the druid is you can turn into any animal, not just you've picked one and that's all you can turn into for the remainder of the game. It works as an animal that you have seen in your lifespan. So if you're travelling, you've probably seen a fair few. And obviously there's still the rules of whether it's walking, flying, or what. But you can do all that, and you can just star the ones that you would want to use.
There's on the Dungeons and Daddies podcast, the druid there, because this rule is, whatever you've seen you can turn it into. There was one thing, he just went, well, Henry went to the San Diego Zoo once. It's like, ridiculous. It's fantastic. So I didn't know that was an app. That's really, really useful. Was it Druid 5e?
Druid 5e, yeah.
There's one app we mentioned in the group chat, or you spoke to someone.
I spoke to a friend. I literally, the second... There's the...
Fight Club 5. I downloaded it. It's well hard to use.
Okay.
It's great. It gives you a load of space for characters.
Yes.
However, it doesn't really work on the point buy system. I tried doing that.
Oh, okay.
It does. It's really hard to understand. It doesn't really walk you through anything.
Okay.
But if you can wrap your head around it, it looks as if you get unlimited characters.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
And there's ads and stuff because you've got to make their money somehow.
Yeah.
But it's there.
This
it's useful if you go out
just to
there.
clarify, this was an experienced player who had put this forward, and that's obviously someone who will need the character slots that they need because they have been playing multiple games.
Yeah.
I am barely using the 6 we have. So I was like, this app looks really cool, but I can't see myself diving into it just yet. But yeah, there are many out there, so be sure to definitely check them out, and other people will suggest other ones that they find useful. This is just the ones that we have ourselves. When fights and stuff are happening, 1, how do you set them up? And 2, how many rolls do you fudge, if any? Is it like a go-to? Is it? Are you just someone
looks quietly away?
Yeah, but
I don't do fudge rolls.
Can you roll an investigation or roll damage or however it is for their character? Obviously, you can see all of our rolls, so we can't escape that. There's no oobly woobly. We have covering
sorry.
And we're covering it up with a piece of paper because you guys have the DM screen, so can literally tell us it's a 25 when it isn't.
So set up and
fudging
do I fudge rolls?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with the setup first. Well, obviously, writing any sort of session out, I always write what I can. Obviously, you guys can make decisions that change things, but I will have a encounter set, and it's not hard to swap where that encounter can happen. So I'll pick a few stat blocks. Yeah. And I mean, some of them can just be used multiple times. Like when you guys fought against the cultists, you had one who was the leader, and then the other ones that were the small little acolytes. Yeah. So they were all the same stats. They weren't anything special. One or two of them had magic ability, so that was a different stat block, and then you had the leader. So different health, maybe more some just crappy fighters. And not saying the fighter class crap, as in they only had...
I'm playing a fighter tonight.
No, as in I'm not going at the fighter class, but as in they were literally crappy fighters because they're I don't have much strength and I have a dagger. You get what I mean? And then you had the spellcasting ones, and then the leader. Yeah. All different healths, different skills and whatnot. Yeah. So I just picked the ones I needed, and then when it came to the initiative, obviously everyone rolled. I rolled for all of them. Yeah. And then just wrote it all out. Yeah. So I had my order and did that, and obviously we had the screen for that and the Lego figures. So I gave you all the Lego figures for your characters, and then which were lovingly provided by Kelly's Harry Potter minifigs. Magic Wizards for cultists. It made sense. And putting Kelly's minifigure face on one of them.
I was thinking one of them also had the sorting hat on, so that we knew they were the leader.
That's right.
yeah, with Professor McGonagall's face on it. Yeah. Guys killed Maggie Smith. I was devastated.
Someone has to stop her.
But so yeah, that's the easiest way I can explain planning an encounter, because you never know what's going to happen in the actual scenario, so you got to roll with it, and then I'm making all their decisions. Fudging rolls, it happens once or twice. Okay. It's not a thing that I'm oh, well, that was a crap hit. But I also fudge both ways.
Oh.
Okay.
So it depends on the scenario and depends on what I'm trying to get across. So if I'm like, they kind of need to be shaken up a bit here, and I'm like, to make them think about how they can enter this game, I might fudge the roll to be slightly higher, I guess, just to prove a point. And then sometimes I'll be there going, oh, I don't want to wipe them out in just like 2 rounds. This is a bit much. Because there are just scenarios where I'm like, expected you guys to do better.
Yeah.
Just in the sense of how you handle it. But also I didn't expect my monsters to be such heavy hitters in the first 2 rounds.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it works in different ways. So then, especially when some of you, Jordan, starts to cry about your health, I'm like, oh, if I hit.
He did do like 2/3 of Jordan's health in one of the mirror.
Yes.
That was not fudged. That
Was it not? That was
no. Because I used one of his abilities. That the whole point of that one was to think, oh, we need to think around.
Can't just be brute force.
Yeah, think outside the box.
Instead, we were like, no, let's leave.
I was kind of hoping that someone would finish releasing the person that you were freeing, because they would have got very heavily involved in the fight. That didn't happen. You guys ran to rethink about it, which was another way of doing it, and you got backup. Yeah. So you just did another way of doing it. Yep. Cool. So I ran with that. Yeah. And gave you a character that could help you out.
So slightly going back a bit to apps, and then you mentioned it as we talk about fighting. Yeah. Is there anything we can use for initiative? Because I mean, you write it just pen and paper. When I did the one shot, I had a whiteboard. So But do we know any apps that are good for this? I don't. If we make one, multimillionaires.
I think there are initiative counters out there. Most sites that do stuff have something or a way to add it on. Yeah. Roll20 has a initiative tracker, I am sure, though I never really cracked it, so I used to just write it in the corner of the map on the screen with the mouse pen. Yeah. Just be like, cool, and then everyone could see it on the screen. Yeah. Easy way of doing it. I know D&D Beyond, if you set up a campaign through the actual site, because you can build one like Roll20 and import maps in there, they have an initiative tracker in that, because I'm pretty sure that's what Adam used when he DM'd for us that one shot when you played for the first time. Yeah, he was the first time. Yeah. So yeah, certain websites have it built in. Okay. But otherwise, it's like just writing it down as a note.
I mean, it was when I'm wearing the shirt, Oxventure were doing the lockdown gameplay. Johnny Chiodini, the DM for that, they just had an Excel spreadsheet. Yeah. That's right there and there. Yeah, and then Jane, what's yours? Andy, what's yours? Thank you very much. Cheers. Yeah. Let's move.
So I know there's this sort of thing where people can flip it over on the DM screen. Yeah. So it's like who's in first. Also, the Essentials kit for Ice Spire actually has, you know how I said it's got the condition cards? Yes. Mm-hmm. It has initiative cards. So they're numbered, I think it's only like 1 to 9, so you can hand them out to the people.
Oh, I see.
You are second. Yeah. Pay attention.
Yeah. So then that person knows. I mean, I guess the DM would still have to write it down. Yeah. But then that person is going, I know exactly where I am, instead of everyone writing it down. Yeah.
Okay.
How much, just circling all over the map now, how much... how do I word this? How much effort or like attachment do you put in? Because obviously, as a player, you may have a wonderful storyline. We're not going to follow it. We try. We get like distracted by what's like in the bushes or what's.
Sometimes you just want the shiny thing.
Yeah, and we will derail it. How is there a way to prepare for that when you are preparing for the game?
I don't think there's a way to prepare in terms of. Players make a choice. Yeah. You can't preempt what they're going to decide. No. You can give them options to try and give them choice and see if they pick from that. But you've always got one person who's gone, actually, I've got a great idea and this is what we should do. And then you're like, no. But in that sense, it's also great because you have to roll with it and see what happens. Okay. So that's when you start to DM on the fly.
You got to have confidence in yourself and the project you've put together for that.
Yeah, there is a bit of that.
Okay, I was going to say you've also like DM'd our lot, and I wasn't there, so I'm sorry.
The only thing that didn't really go to plan.
You had to take a section out, didn't you?
Yes, because going the combat. Yeah. I had like a whole village planned out where they could go this and find out information here and all the different characters. I had like literally I put for a one shot. You just need not bare bones, but I literally bloody wrote the tavern owner has a Cockney accent and is friends with this person in the town and you don't need that. You just don't need that. So I ended up having to cut it for time. Because admittedly we did start like an hour and a half late because Jordan was kept up with work. You had to lean in and go, thank you, Jordan.
Name and shame.
So, okay, well, peeking.
That's come up on mine as well.
What was the question? Oh yeah, how much attention do you get? I made the NPCs on D&D Beyond, and I designed all the character sheets, and spent too much time ignoring my fiance to do that. Hey, she was just my girlfriend at that time. It's fine. So I spent a load of time on these character sheets, and then it was the safe house encounter with the. When you found the wizard. The guy who was pretending to be the wizard at the door, I gave him an old perception check. Oh, they got mud on their boots. That's weird. That's not well respected. Comes out, and it's supposed to be this, not the big bad, but the mini boss comes out. My guy does not land a fucking hit on anyone, and they take down in literally about 5 turns. I was like, I spent so much time trying to get a good, interesting character with a backstory who's linked to here and here, and they took it down, and on like 2 health, I was like, he surrenders. Like, please don't kill my character. I spent too much time. I need him to last.
I had a great character planned out for you guys in this campaign. And one of you hated them.
I don't know what you're talking about. Have you introduced us to them yet?
So for context,
is it fucking true?
I had a bit of a storyline for him to just come in and out to help you guys in different places, because I was like, you're new, so if there's ever a time where it's a bit stuck, trick. But also, it was going to relate to some stuff later down the line. I've now scrapped all of that.
Why?
No!
Because it doesn't work the way that you guys have played it. Doesn't mean he can't come back. He is still
He's
there.
a sexy soldier man.
I've never seen a group of
straight men
turn so quickly. It was an experience. It was an experience to behold when the big man does these beautiful pictures and he's like, "You need this, put it up on the board," and I was silent and in shock, and all of you lot were like, "Oh,
what a man! What a man! What a man! What a mighty good man!"
Alright, fine.
So I just had to adjust that. That was fine, and that was something I put. It was effort in that sense of I put a lot into it in terms of I had created maybe too much of a storyline for him to be like, I can throw him in at any point and do this with him and wonderful, and he's already got a story arc, and then I was like, some of them don't like him, some of them love
just Hatty.
Some of them love him. Oh no, I know.
Actually, I really like the dynamic between. I know it's not you. It's your
it's
character.
not me. I think as a character, he is.
I love the dynamic between
your character made total sense, and I should have thought that could have been after reading your backstory, and I was like, it makes total sense. So it's just made me gone, okay, well, I'm gonna change it slightly, so it's not as so. Also, it kind of made me realise that maybe I'd put too much into him, and gone, well, actually, maybe I don't need him to serve all the purposes I need. And then also we get friends from time to time who'd be like, I just want to join for the session. Where actually, so where he could have come back for some things, I scrapped that to allow someone just to jump in for a session and not be restrained to playing a character I had made. Because if someone's playing it that doesn't really play it and they just want to have a good time with their friends, I don't want them to think, I've been given this character that I don't really like. Or whatever. So, Kevin came in, he was a barbarian.
He always killed me, that's right. In-game.
Tyler came in and he was a con man merchant style rogue, which worked really well. And originally I was going, you could be this. And he was like, I do get what you're saying, but I think I'd prefer to do this if you're right. But he asked. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. We're doing a one-shot tonight with Kelly and Naz, but originally
Who have never played.
Yeah.
But originally, before deciding to make it a one shot, when I thought we had a few more of us, I was going to implement them with characters that could work just for the one-off encounter sort of thing as you travel to your next location and do it that way. So some of those encounters may have been substituted because like, well, he can come in and out at any point. So
it's not so much how attached you are to them, it's very much... Because I think if Trig pops up, we go, way, and Hatty goes, and it's like, that's the dynamic for the session, and it's a little bit of fun, because I know it's not you that dislikes Sam's work, it's the character that dislikes the character.
Yes. It's very much like backstory based to the point where I would have loved to have been able to greet him the same way everyone else does, but it wouldn't have made sense. I don't like soldiers.
Yeah.
So
no. It's not like you don't like soldiers, it's, let's get it right, you're racist. You don't like humans.
Yeah.
In-game.
Oh yeah. Just like my own species in real life too.
I mean...
So going into the attachment thing, it's... You've obviously developed this character, which if you are, and if you don't mind me saying, Hatty, if you're attached to it, just bring it back as a little recurring character.
Yeah,
please do.
Don't waste that.
He is.
The best interactions we have is when, and I know you do this on purpose because there are many other players in the room who could do this instead. But if I'm near death, you're going to have him save me. Because it's fun.
But he's done it once. Well, he didn't save you, he healed you and you want to kill me now. Lich went, do I not have to? It's like lay on... No, it wasn't lay on hands, you just had a potion.
Because I'm like in death saves, I can't do anything anyway.
I was so tempted to get him to carry you bridal style, and I was like, maybe a step too far.
I need a hero!
But in death saves, I wouldn't be able to do anything anyway.
No, I know.
You could just come scoop me up and I'm like... Take staggers.
Let me help you with them death saves.
Like, can I roll?
So I do think DMs need to be attached to the work they've done, but also have to, if you are attached to the work that you've done, be prepared to let them go at some point. Sometimes it might just happen.
Yeah.
You have to accept it, so you can make all the plans in the world.
Yes.
But as a DM, you have to bend and break sometimes.
Like, I plan ahead for my sessions. So I've written the storyline, and I've not finished the storyline, but I've got the general points of beginning, middle, and end, and then I start to flesh out. So I've only fleshed out the beginning part of the campaign. Yeah, we're not near the middle.
I know, we're on one person's backstory out of 6.
No. The main arc of that, but...
Yeah. Sorry, 2 people. Sorry, yeah,
3.
3?
3. We're hunting for M's items.
Your 2 backstories have just come into the play in the last few sessions. Thanks a lot.
I forgot we were related. Sorry.
But yeah, so I've planned ahead to a point, and then the sessions I've written are written up to a point. However, I will then look at what happened in that last session and be like, do I need to make some adjustments? Yeah, probably. Because it's not a set in stone thing.
No.
It's like a PlayStation game or whatever you do. You make the decisions there, and I know the game can only allow you to do so many things, but like look at Skyrim as example. There is a storyline, but it's kind of whatever way you want to do it.
Yeah, you do all the side quests first and then come back.
Yeah.
Done.
So I may have planned out, okay, I'm going to start kind of with these backstories and then integrate into these ones, but actually... you guys could go, actually, I want to start doing this, and be like, okay, cool, so that's going to venture into someone's backstory earlier than I planned, but that's fine, that's not a problem.
No.
It's just a case of, I did it this way to make sense for me, and if you guys want to make a decision that takes you, go for it.
Okay. With that in mind, backseat DMing, if you're new, is it helpful, or does
it was so hopeful when M was sat at my table.
Okay, I hate it.
No, it's like, because I have not done it, but I'm somehow more knowledgeable than some of our friends, so I can help. But is that not?
So I look at backseat DMing as like backseat driving when you haven't asked for the person's opinion to begin with.
Grab the wheel.
And to the group.
However, like I said, when me, Tyler, and Garen all started to DM separately, we'd be in game, something would come up, and we would literally go, guys, like, thoughts on this, like, because you've DM'd before, or how did this work for you? Because I can't remember and I can't find it right now. And we did the same when you looked at me a few times, but I waited until, or I went, do you need a hand? And Will would be like, yes, please.
Got you.
Whereas I've had the unfortunate experience of people going, well, that's not how that works, IDM. And I'm like, cool, not your world. It's this situation, you know. Because I had one person go, well, that's not what it says in the rules for the book. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, there are rules in the book, great to take into consideration. My ultimate standpoint on it is not every rule works for every scenario and occasion. And if it enhances the storyline, bend it.
Yeah.
I don't care. If it makes it an enjoyable experience for all, bend it. That doesn't mean you then have to keep it bent for the rest of the game. I don't know why I'm saying it like this, but I am. But
do it for the plot. I like it.
yeah. But it just means in that moment you go, no, that will be really cool and it'll probably boost the team as a whole.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking as the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's, I guess in that sense, there are good sides to backseat DMing when you've asked for it.
Yes.
And you're actively asking for the person's help.
That's
not
the key
when you've got
difference.
someone challenging you on every decision you make.
A
because they,
actually person.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. Or,
Yes.
and just coming out with, well, I DM in my spare time.
Yeah.
You know.
Well done, but it's not helpful right
Yeah.
now.
Because I've done one shots with other groups, not just you or the other group that I used to DM and play with. I've done one shots for other people, and I've had DMs turn up in that probably because they're DMing in other groups and they just want to have a chance to play. And then we've done something and they've gone, that's not how that usually works. And sometimes I've had it, well, that's not how I do it. I'm like, cool, you're in my game.
Yeah.
And not to be like a dick about it.
My roof, my rules.
Yeah.
But to a point, like, you've gone to someone else's game, respect how they do it, because everyone has a different way of doing it. And I don't think it's hard just to let that be.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree with it. If you think, oh, I don't know how I feel about that, by all means flag it and just be like, does it have to work like that? Pose it as a question, have a conversation with them.
Yes.
But don't start going, yeah, that's not how I do it. Because then I'm instantly turned off and I don't want you back at my table ever again. Personally.
Yeah. No, it's
That's not to say I wouldn't have a conversation and be like, listen, please don't do that again, or I don't know if I can.
Yeah. But it's
But if you're going to fight me on everything, then...
But it's
bye-bye.
It's one of those where if you're DMing, chances are you're going to learn from either a friend or from YouTube, and it's going to come up.
Yeah.
It's going to come up. So it's just one of those. It's one of those points where ask.
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask. D&D inherently has lots and lots of rules, which we have said, but so don't be afraid to ask a friend or Google or say, can I just have a second look at the book?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. If you're a new DM, there's so much to keep track of. Don't worry about it.
So I guess just to like wrap the whole thing up in terms of points, absolutely prep. But don't get carried away. Don't overdo yourself.
Don't cement things.
Yeah. Like,
have key points, but don't live and die by them.
Yeah. And just be willing to go with the flow. In terms of things to prep for, like gear-wise, it doesn't have to cost loads of money. It's not a cheap hobby, let's be honest.
Yeah, no.
You know, but there are ways around it. So don't be afraid to go, I've got some spare coins or some, you know, knickknacks that I can use as counters and whatnot. At the end of the day, people are still going to be immersed because they're moving something or and they're looking at that coin as, that's me.
Yeah.
There's still a visual aid.
For music, you don't need to have the biggest of soundtracks all the time.
No.
Just like say, raindrops in a cave.
You don't need to be Hans Zimmer.
No.
It doesn't need to be blaring surround sound. Little Bluetooth speaker does the job.
Yeah.
Even on your
phone, TV, because sometimes I use my speaker and you guys have gone, can we turn it down? Because
sometimes we've been like, this is a bot.
Like,
what's that? Well, I'm peasant.
But like the when we did the Vision Quest, the speaker was perfect.
Yes.
Or, you know, if you've got a TV in your room, whatever you're using, you know, in that sense, it's not hard. And homebrew stuff.
Yeah.
Write what you want, because it is that. Obviously, if you've got players and they want to play a certain way, take that into consideration.
Yeah.
But homebrew and a pre-written campaign, in terms of rules and dynamics and flair, all work the same. It's just a case of, are you reading something from a book, or have you written it yourself?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
and you're
much the
going to
difference.
learn by doing.
Yeah.
So get stuck in.
Learn
Just
by
get in
doing. Yeah.
And I suppose in that sense, like how Tyler did, he wrote his first one, so you might care about it a bit more than a pre-written one.
Yeah.
Like, I know I care more about this than any of the pre-written ones I've ever DM'd because I've put me into it.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I can't let go when I need to.
Yeah.
I absolutely can. But it just means it's my work and I'm watching my friends enjoy something I've created instead of just going, so the book tells me this.
Oh,
and there's
yes.
nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing
Something
wrong
we
with
have not mentioned is new DMs. You are a player too.
Yes.
You
Yes.
have to have fun.
Yes. If you're not enjoying it,
Yeah.
change it.
Yeah, it's well good watching your friends do the world you've curated,
Yes.
but make sure you're having fun
Yeah.
doing it as well.
You are all the other characters
Yeah.
in their little fantasy world, so
Yeah.
go for it, have fun, create voices. If you want to give them quick little backstories, you give Margaret the goblin who is a chef at the Leaky Cauldron, you know.
A New York accent. Hey, I'm here making my stew for the
Like,
It's like she's in this room.
and I mean, I'm not the greatest with accents, we know this, but like, it's perfect, and then the players respond to it.
Yeah.
And especially if you want to encourage your players to roleplay.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Names. Go creative, don't go creative. It's your world. It's
Bob,
your world.
Done.
Bob, or whatever we did when we created ours. We just took it from
Tambourine
around the
Dice
room.
Dragon.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm Sound Feather fan.
And
Yes.
Sound Feather Fan now, so it's make sure you're having fun. If
Yes.
there's any questions, don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the world's most expensive equipment.
No.
And make sure everyone's having fun and everyone's comfortable and enjoying themselves. That's the main thing as a DM. That's what to take away from today's episode, I think. So who's gonna sign us off with socials?
Oh God. I'd completely forgot this was part of it. Thank you so much for watching. You can probably find us on the BBEG Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Spotify. Have we got them all?
Yes, you have. And if you have any points that you think we have missed, don't be afraid to email in at the BBEG. I can never say it.
Oh yeah, we've got an
The
email.
BBEG podcast at gmail.com with any points you would like to raise about the topics we discussed today.
Also, if you have any apps, put them in the comments because we'd love to know about them too.
Oh, yeah.
Share them with the others.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a big thank you to Mapzilla for our wonderful map today.
Thank you, Mapzilla. Right, see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye-bye.